Hello and welcome to the Dark Hour. It is May 8th. We are dealing with Kenji today, but fortunately, we have an ally in this fight. Please welcome Clever Diversion from the channel Clever Diversion.
Thank you so much for having me on your channel. I've been following it religiously ever since I found out about it. Also, of note, we know each other in real life. Also, so this collab is in some way set up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have like friends on because this is a long year, and
It's
there's a
gonna
lot
be
of
a long
Kenji in
time.
it.
Well, I mean that's the social link that you're building, right?
Yeah.
We have our own social links that we get to develop alongside our characters.
That's true. Yeah, y'all aren't watching the game Persona I'm playing. I have so many dates scheduled now that I'm inoculated. I'm gonna build up all kinds of social links, but they're not gonna be recorded. So suck it, I guess. I don't know why I decided to get confrontational there.
It's a natural reaction.
All right, so do you want to be Kenji, or am I gonna stick with Kenji?
I could be Kenji. I feel like you should be consistent with your characters the whole time.
Okay.
So, Ham, what's up?
You seem happy.
I am happy. Probably thanks to you, dude. We should hang out again. I have something to tell you, man.
Right. Looking forward to it. Kenji seems extremely happy. Maybe you should talk with him after school.
Maybe.
Oh, it's Hidetoshi.
It's the parade of the shitty people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you coming to student council today?
Thinking about it.
I see. I'll be there, of course. Have I told you how impressed I am with your efforts? Well, excuse me.
It seems like Hidetoshi is counting on you. Maybe you should go to the student council after school.
Is it good to have, like, a fascist counting on you?
That's one of the major questions of Persona, really.
Do you want to be useful to them, you know? Like, that's the issue.
I haven't gotten to the end of this social link. Maybe you change him. Maybe you just, like, solidify his power. I don't know. But we've had so much Kenji. Let's do Hidetoshi. Plus, it might unlock the actually good character.
Well, and like, your theory of being different personas when you're in contact with these people and like actually transforming who you are to conform to kind of their beliefs or goals is like, at what point does that just become you like being pretty manipulative as a person?
Well, okay, so that's the thing, is like, I have to either accept. So I give like different answers when I'm talking to different people. Like when I'm talking to when I'm talking to Kenji here, I'm like, yeah, man, love dating adults. Totally.
Whatever you want, bro.
And then when I switch to Persona 5, it's like, hey, I hate that, actually.
Yeah.
I realize there's different characters, but yeah, it feels like the only two options are, one, you're just, like, completely manipulative, sociopathic, not to stigmatize, but that's a description of how
right. But that's the gamer thing, right? Is like all main characters in video games like walk into people's houses, take whatever they can. Like,
well, but it's different than something like Dragon Age, where you're like, I think we should save the town. Morrigan disliked that.
Yeah.
Because you're not being different things, different people. You're choosing a person to be. But in this one,
in this case, literally.
Yeah. It's the fact that like it has to be either you're just this completely blank slate, no empathy, person who just tells people what they want to hear.
Yeah,
But
zero.
It feels like then you're not really forming bonds and social links. You're just like lying to everybody and using their power.
Sure.
And that why would that translate to like a connection to the Arcana? So the alternative is that in the same way that I am Forneus and I am Nekomata, when I'm hanging out with Kenji, I'm Nekomata, and Nekomata's like, yeah, absolutely, bang your teacher,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because I
into
like
it.
Nekomata. Huh?
Nekomata's into it, you know? That's the thing about Nekomata that people don't know.
Can't trust cat boys. And then Forneus is like, yes, the students should all follow your whims.
Right.
The Emperor Arcana and the Magician Arcana are fundamentally different people, and I grow like as a person in that Arcana when I do a social link as that Arcana.
Right. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's definitely an amount of that that's just like make me feel better about talking to Kenji.
Sure.
Make me feel better about being an entirely different person when I talk to Chie versus when I talk to what other socialists do I have?
Yukiko?
Dojima.
Oh,
Actually, yeah, with Dojima, it's very much like, hello, yes, I am an upstanding member of society. What a
Yeah.
good way for me to be who doesn't get in any trouble. And with Chie,
Police.
yeah. And when I'm with Chie, it's like, yeah, let's learn Kung Fu so we can kick people's asses. Hell yeah.
Dope.
And the only way I can make that not contradictory is to make it so the person is, in some sense, like always that person.
Yeah.
Or can become both of those people.
That's actually one of the things I've been researching with Elizabeth Hobbs Kaufman, Gregory's mom, who's a history professor at UC and I believe Texas A&M. And she has a quote in her book, American Umpire, that is, do I contradict myself? Very well. If I contradict myself, I am large. I contain legions.
Yeah, and you really, like, in a different game, I could be saying, like, you're kind of becoming these different people, or it's like these different facets of personality, but this game is literally about being multiple people.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually get the Persona Legion later.
Oh, nice.
You can literally contain Legion.
There you go.
Um,
That makes that quote very, very auspicious.
yeah, like, I contain multitudes, and right now their names are Nekomata and Forneus.
Exactly. So yeah, that's actually one of the like secret like things that you get at the 11th level of the Masonic Order is that you're actually every astrology sign. In the sense that you are the sun, and like everyone contains every aspect of every personality within themselves.
Sure, yeah.
But they have to wait. You can't get that at level 10. You gotta wait till level 11. They won't trust you with that information.
Which order is that?
The Masonic Order.
What's your name?
Mason.
Okay, just checking.
Just checking.
Yeah, let's hang out with Hidetoshi. This is student counselor. Is he a Forneus for time? The Emperor can make a Hidetoshi was like you decide to spend some time after school in the student council room. Kickdown High School, something. Hidetoshi is talking to a teacher. All right, Hidetoshi, I'm counting on you for both our sakes.
Jeez. What was that about?
You want to be Jira?
Oh, sure. Emson.
Hey, what do you mean by for both our sakes? What's he talking about?
He just wants to create a better school environment, so he offered to help us. Just like how the president asked Emku to join the student council. You know, just like that.
What? You can't decide something like that without the president's permission? He is staring at Hidetoshi.
Oh my god. Is he pulling a power move?
Oh, absolutely. This is like a low-key coup, I think. I don't think it matters what I do
Jeez.
here, so I'm gonna go with what happens.
Someone found a cigarette butt in the boys' bathroom. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And that teacher wants us to look for the one who did it.
She was with a hushed tone.
Oh, sorry. Well, someone broke the rules, and we should find out who. It's our responsibility, right? Look, you have two choices. Either help out and prove you're trustworthy, or refuse and raise suspicion. Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
If
Like
you're
they,
innocent, you have nothing to hide, right?
like, you may have thought I was joking about how he's like a proto-fascist. I was
Jesus.
not. He goes
This is
right into
terrible.
it. We're at like rank 2.
Yeah, apparently the Fifth Amendment, you are not allowed to use silence as a defense.
They don't
Silence
have the
only
Fifth Amendment in
arouses
Japan,
suspicion.
baby. And they definitely don't have it in Gekkokan High School.
And also, recently, as one of the consequences of the Patriot Act, the Fifth Amendment rights have actually been eroded quite heavily in the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
The Supreme Court passed a ruling that said that silence can be used as evidence of guilt. Yeah, it's in
So you
specific
don't
cases.
have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or don't say can be used against you.
It's just that you have to declare knowingly that you are invoking your Fifth Amendment right, and you have to claim it. And if you don't claim it, then it can be viewed as suspicious. Yeah, there's a few YouTube videos about it. I could put them in the description if any interested citizens are worried about
Sure.
the state of our union.
That's interesting also because this game takes place in 2010, which is probably the time of the Supreme Court case.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
I guess
defense attorneys are pretty pissed off at it.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
bet.
difficult. Oh, we sure have to deal with a lot of BS around here, don't we, M-Kun?
Seems like Kyotoshi is counting on you. Your
Oh my
relationship
God.
is stronger now. Great, love that.
Well, whether we like it or not, the relationship is stronger.
You're on this train, baby. You're riding it all the way to the station. Thou art I and I am thou. Blessing. Student Council Social Link Strategy Level 3. Your power to get percent of these. Hey, don't ignore me. Teacher's pet. Is that
Yeah.
the biggest insult? Okay, he chases after Hitotoshi.
It's not good for student council members to be fighting like this, right? I better go tell the president.
Yeah, I'm totally on your side now because you're another social link for me. Absolutely, we shouldn't be authoritarianly going after someone just for smoking a cigarette. Was that Hitoshi? Yes, burn them to the ground.
Yeah. Oh, out the dissidents.
You decided to go home. Don't worry, Chihiro. I'm fine with distance.
Yeah, don't worry about this.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's odd, really,
mean-
how quiet it's been. Sorry. You can go ahead.
Well, do you just real quick? Do you believe that the social link is with the person individually, or do you think it's with the arcana, like the idea of authority in the world and like the correct treatment of that authority?
Let me check something in the menu. You're referring to the shadows, I take it. It's been a month since the attack, yet I'm certain it won't be the last time you appear around Tartarus. Well, now, to be clear, it's been a month minus a day since the attack, because tomorrow is full moon. True, lately it seems like the Lost are everywhere. So something must be going on. Okay, so I'm going into S-Link. And what it technically calls it is Classmate Student Council Old Couple Track Team Online Game.
Okay, so these are like the category of relationships. It's like your relationship with student council.
Yeah. Although, like, the thing is, it's not. Because my relationship to Mitsuru and my relationship to Chihiro are going to be separate from that.
Sure.
It's my relationship to Hidetoshi, to the student council.
Don't you think that you and Mitsuru might have, a relationship that's more than just student council?
Well, sure. I'm just saying, and like, all these people are my classmates. Well, not all these
Good
people,
point.
but
Well, maybe you don't see them through that lens. You know, like the other one, you see him like just through the lens of being a classmate to you. Whereas, you know, C's, you probably, your relationship with C's is also separate from your relationship with Mitsuru.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, yeah. Classmate who
Well, it does have his picture.
Classmate who likes older women. Great. Disciplinary committee rep. Very serious. It's nice to give you little summaries here.
Okay, so I guess it is, you know, within the category of this thing, but they do link it to specific people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's also the... It's hard to draw lines between the different games because they were developed, like, literally 5-10 years apart.
Yeah.
But I'm playing them all every day, so I am making these connections.
Sure.
Your connection to Yosuke in 4 is also Magician, and your connection to Morgana in 5 is Magician. And they're all definitely different people. Although it might be more straightforward to say that Chariot is here it's this track team member. In 4 it's Chie, and
Right.
5 it's Ryuji, who are all there's something about them that makes them Chariot-y. Like they're all the same sort of like strong and athletic and intense people who actually have a connection to running specifically. Chie doesn't, but the other two do.
Oh, definitely. And they're fast, you know? You gotta keep up.
Mm-hmm. So, it seems like...
Just out of curiosity, do you have a tarot deck? Like, do you own one?
I do not.
Ah. Have you ever, like, seen, like, the explanation books for each of the arcanas?
Yeah, I should really do my research.
I mean, I have one. I have one right here if you want.
Alright, so tell me about Chariot.
Okay, let me see what. 1 second.
One interesting thing about this is it seems to be... In tarot, the cards are like... They represent events, not individual people. Is that right?
Okay, so thank you for stalling for me. So this is from the Robin Wood Tarot from Leowin Productions, circa 2005. Let's see. Chariot, meaning in the upright position, work and travel, purpose, trouble or problems falling behind, triumph, harmony, balance, controlling forces which might conflict and bring them together to form a working whole. When reversed, it represents quarrel, trouble, defeat, or failure, the collapse of hopes and dreams, and unfavorable legal proceedings.
So those are all, like... They're not all verbs, but they're events that happen.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to something like Aries, you know, which is
Sure.
a type of person. You wouldn't say... you could say, Chie is totally an Aries. I don't know enough astrology to know if that's accurate.
Right.
But it'd be weird to say, Chie is a total Chariot.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the story they're telling? Like,
Could be.
Here's a spoiler for Kazushi. His story... his story is about he tears his ACL or something.
Oh, jeez.
So he gets an injury, which endangers his dreams.
Yeah.
And then Ryuji has an established injury before the thing. Kazushi and Ryuji are actually surprisingly similar.
Yeah, I mean, the failure and collapse of hopes and dreams. That's
Yeah.
pretty rough.
All right, tell me about Magician.
Magician? Okay.
Because that's like the one I've gotten the furthest with
Sure.
overall.
All right, so the Magician is the opportunity to use talents, skill, or self-reliance, originality, creativity, imagination, and diplomacy, the merging of all four elements together. Reversed, an unskilled or clumsy, insecure person, a disgrace or bad judgment that causes loss for all involved.
Okay, you just said person, so that's interesting. I need to get my friend who actually knows how to do tarot on the show so that we can, like, actually talk about this. I would say that Morgana really fits that first set. Like, Morgana is specifically a teacher for you.
Nice.
And I guess I could say that Kenji is like an insecure person, and Yosuke is to a certain extent. But they don't seem as represented by this.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different interpretations of the tarot. Like, each book will be a little bit different than the others. So, it's open to interpretation.
Yeah. But so the question is, am I connecting with the person, or am I connecting with Hidetoshi, or am I connecting with the Emperor? Am I going through the story of the Emperor? Or I guess put that another way, what's the relationship between Hidetoshi and Fornius? Because they're both Emperor. And when I have Fornius, I have a stronger bond with Hidetoshi, who's also Emperor.
Well, do you want to hear the definition of the Emperor?
Yeah, tell me about the Emperor.
A father figure, secure and successful, a stable, authoritative, powerful leader, a person with the qualities of reason and conviction. When reversed, the confusion, obstruction, immaturity, ineffectiveness, weakness of character, or megalomania.
Okay, well, that last one's definitely Hidetoshi.
Yeah.
He aspires to be the upright emperor, even though he's kind of the reversed emperor.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the Emperor Akane is in Persona 4. I definitely haven't met him yet. In 5, it's part of him we haven't met yet.
Who's the cop? Who's cop dad?
He is Hierophant.
Oh, okay.
I've encountered all 3 Hierophants. In this one, it's not there. The Hierophant is the old couple.
Cool.
In 4, it's Dojima, and in 5, it's Sojiro, the guy who takes you in and is also, at least in the beginning, to a certain extent, your jailer.
Oh wow.
He's
okay.
He's the person who's like watching over you and reporting to your probation officer.
Gotcha.
You do eventually ally with him, but in the beginning, it's very much that he is in charge of you. He is your jailer.
For sure.
So tell me about Hierophant.
Okay, so Hierophant is tradition, captivity, servitude, ritual, inactivity, retention, timidity, a desire to hold on to old thoughts or ways, even if they are outdated.
Okay, so that one's obviously going on with the dead kid here.
The concern of form over its function. Reversed, a foolish exercise in generosity, eccentricity, intrigue, or weakness.
Okay. Yeah, foolish generosity and eccentricity also definitely describes this one.
Yeah. I mean, the captivity and servitude. That's
like
definitely...
the themes of Persona 5. That's what it's about.
I mean, it's prison.
Yeah.
And tradition, I would say, for, Hierophant being the cop dad. He's, tradition and servitude, like he's a public servant.
Mm-hmm. And also, he could arrest you.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like you didn't see yesterday's episode, or the episode for the 6th. That's when you get your first social link with Dojima, and it starts with him being like, hey, so what have you been getting up to?
Yeah.
because you always seem to be around when there's a killing, and they did start when you got here.
Yeah. I mean, I immediately thought that's what he would go for as a detective, where he's like, the second you show up, the killings start.
Yeah, and he does. He's like, I don't want to really have to consider this, but I am a detective. I have to get rid of the like uncertainties.
Yeah, you have to rule out.
Yeah. And so he's like, hey, what's your relationship to the murders? And you're like, what? No, nothing. Completely normal person here.
For sure. Yeah. Well, what's Persona 3 doing right now?
So I feel like Persona 3 is less straightforward about its themes.
Sure.
Like, I can summarize Persona 4 as it's a murder mystery. Persona 5 as it's a heist movie.
Definitely.
Maybe just because I haven't finished Persona 3. It's... I mean, you are a little more, like... What Cease is...
It strikes me as like a video game. It's like very video game-esque.
I was going to... Yeah, it is very video game-esque. But I was going to say it's a little like you're a soldier.
Oh, wow.
Like, you even wear the red armband.
Sure.
And you're issued a gun, even though it's not a real gun.
That is true. You do have a gun in this one.
Yeah, and you're the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's your official club name.
Okay.
So this one feels... And they've got the themes of, like, you are the only one who can stop the shadows.
Yeah.
There's even the corrupt cop who's like, hey, I need to keep this town safe. The only way to do that is give you weapons to fight the shadows.
Yeah. Interesting
like
kind of framing.
From them gobbling up the human world or whatever. Although it's actually not clear what would happen if they did, because, like, they don't do anything outside of the Dark Hour. Well, tomorrow we'll see some stuff they can do.
Yeah. And the apathy syndrome, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Stealing people's life.
You're completely right. Yeah, I totally forgot about the main plot of this game. Yeah, so you're fighting back against apathy syndrome, which is, like, first of all, it's an obvious metaphor for a lot of stuff. Depression, overwork, exhaustion, alienation.
Disillusionment with society at large.
Yeah. And, there's
and
also...
hanging out with your good friends online, making YouTube videos, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know my Japanese history super well, but they do have a lost decade and a lost generation. The lost decades refers to a period of economic stagnation in Japan caused by asset price bubbles collapse in late 1991, originally referred to 91 to 2001, but the decade from 2001 to 2010 have been included by commentators. So it's this decade of lost like economic ability, and the lost generation, which I think is probably more accurate, probably more relevant, is it's kind of our generation.
Wow.
It's so I'm reading an article.
Is it
about how
Brown's
people-
Political Review?
Huh?
Is it Brown's Political Review? Japan's Lost Generation.
Yeah. I've also found a Bloomberg. So hey.
Oh, Japan's Lost Generation still jobless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's a sentence. Japan's lost generation is still jobless and living with their parents. Shut out of the employment market in their 20s, they continue to search for direction in middle age.
Wow, that's my life.
Yeah, like
It's
that's
so real.
that's mirroring the millennials. It's
Oh,
actually
the
for a fairly
housing
similar
crisis
reason.
in America like completely shot lots of people's like directions for getting out of college and getting a quote-unquote good job.
Yeah, and the same thing happened with the economic collapse, with the big market crash in Japan in '91. Is there was this generation of people who could just breeze into a job, and then all of a sudden, everything crashes and you can't anymore. This is combined with particular Japanese hiring practices and particular American hiring practices, and like promotional systems and stuff. And I'm not talented enough at socio-geoeconomics to really comment on it.
Yeah. I mean, NPR has an article in 2006 that says retreating youth becomes Japan's lost generation.
Mhm.
And the article I'm reading is like literally translated as a pulling in or a retiring. The word refers to a pattern of acute social withdrawal experienced by young Japanese men and women who often confine themselves to their rooms, abandoning schoolwork and employment, leaving only to eat or sometimes not at all. And that's
Yeah.
2006.
This
when
game
did
was
this
made in
game come out?
2006.
This game came out in 2006? Okay.
Mhm.
So probably about that, right?
Yeah.
Look at that girl.
Yeah, I
Look
was
what she's
just going to
doing.
note the ages of the people we've seen with apathy syndrome. It's a lot of
Oh.
young kids.
Well, and it's almost Junpei if we didn't rescue him,
That's true.
like,
Yeah, it would have been
getting
Junpei.
him into this cool club that we started.
This guy over here looks like, or this one over here looks like an adult, but
I mean, she's dressed kind of 20s, you know, mid 20s, I'd say.
this person talks about coworkers. No, maybe not. More. The guy could be totally healthy, and then bam, he's got apathy syndrome. Personally, I think they're just overworking themselves, but he's talking about like professional level people.
Sure. I mean, commenting on Japanese work business culture and work culture in general, I think is very salient for this time period.
Yeah, like burnout is definitely a thing, and he's explicitly saying this resembles when people overwork themselves and burn completely out.
Japan.
So if you're thinking about maybe what this represents as a theme,
Consider some of these real-life articles you can easily Google by typing in Japan's lost generation.
yeah, so
Would you like to know more? Do-do-do.
so to a certain extent, this is like fighting back against these broad, I guess, like psychological forces, because you can't affect the economic forces, but the psychological forces encouraging you to just give up.
Yeah.
And instead, you put on a red armband and take a gun. And you go, well,
Fucking fight
hit
'em.
yourself in the head.
Let's go.
But you hit them with a sword. You hit the shadows with a
Oh,
sword.
yeah. It is true. You do use the sword more than you use the gun. Well, I guess, I don't know.
You use the gun a lot. Every time
use
you
the
cast
gun
a
a
spell.
lot, too. The gun is mightier than the sword. It's gun sword.
Yeah. I mean, you use a sword when you're just like fighting and clubbing, but when you do the fight club thing and destroy your ego and sense of self to create a new you, then you use the gun.
Nice.
Apathy syndrome victims are increasing, and no cause for the epidemic has been found. Wow, this is really convenient. Anxiety is spreading near Port Island, where many of the victims are from. This is Coyote Kuroki reporting from Tatsumi Memorial Hospital.
Huh.
Yeah,
Now, is it just this city?
I think so. So I don't
Okay.
know the plot really, but I did watch the anime. And the Dark Hour and the Shadows and the apathy syndrome is local and related.
Okay.
I mean, if nothing
Oh,
else,
that's cool.
I don't think this character's ever experienced coffin time before he got here.
Yeah, fair. Fair enough.
And we never talked to other Persona users in other places.
So for the context of the story, you know, it's in this spot, and we're working on it.
Yeah. And so it's not... Persona 5 is all about rebellion, and this
Sure.
doesn't seem to be that. It seems more like standing your ground. Maybe?
Yeah, Oh, I
Sure.
think resisting the forces of depression and helping your fellow, people in society resist them also. And going to the bathroom at regular intervals.
I want to see if my condition improves.
These are all important things to do in
I'm
society.
good right now. I feel normal. Okay.
Nice. Well, yeah. What's your plan for the rest of the evening?
I was just thinking that I'm going to go to the mall. I can't do karaoke tonight because it's Friday. I'm going to talk to Elizabeth, who should have more quests for me.
Nice. Elizabeth is one of my favorite characters. I love the fountain scene.
I adore her. In
So good.
in 5, you get to take out your jailers there, Caroline and Justine, and it's just delightful.
Nice.
No, I don't want to fuse personas. No. Circle.
I mean, with playing Persona games, it just makes me think I should just ask everyone out in real life.
I mean, that's my strategy. I told you I had... I had a date yesterday. I
Nice.
probably got a date later today, and I also have dates scheduled for the next 4 days until I help with my move on the
Wow.
13th, and then until I help my
So
ex
you're
move on
living-
the 13th.
You're living the Persona dream. You have all the social links going.
Oh
Full
yeah.
schedule.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad.
This game's weird because this game doesn't want you to max out all your social links.
Really.
Well, so at rank 10 with each of the girls, you start dating them.
Yeah.
There's no friendship route, and they can get jealous and break your social link if you don't spend enough time with them or if you start spending time with other girls.
Nah, just
So
like
unless you
real
play
girls.
them really carefully, it's hard to get multiple girls to rank 10 at the same time.
Just like real life.
Yeah. In 4 original, there was no penalty, but I think in Golden, there's a scene where they all get mad at you. There definitely
Wow.
is in 5.
So is that like a replayability thing? Like they wanted you to take different paths and beat the game with different levels of links? Or do they just hate completionists?
In 3, it's probably the first one. Yeah, it's about managing your time.
I see.
And
So
I
maybe
think,
a difficulty thing in the dating sim genre?
yeah, but being about managing your time, I think to a certain extent is what do you choose to do versus not do, as opposed
Yeah.
to the way I play it, which is what is the correct order of things you can do things in to do everything.
Yeah.
I'm not
I feel like many gamers feel that way. I certainly initially thought when I played through Persona 3 that, that was obviously the correct game or move to do. And it's so strange to me that game designers either aren't sensitive to that or don't want you to participate with their medium in that way, when it's so clearly the thing that most gamers would do. It's obviously min-max everything.
I mean, I can believe that as a thematic choice for this.
Sure.
No, you've got a year. The clock keeps ticking.
Yeah.
You don't have the choice
I mean,
to
they
just
do
whatever you want.
say
when you
time waits for no one.
want. Time never waits.
Time never waits.
All right, I'm gonna go to sleep earlier so that I have great condition for tomorrow, and then I'm going to switch games.
All right.
So I
Well,
will
thank you
see
so much for the
later
time. It was wonderful to hang out.
in Inaba. I'm stalling to make sure. Okay.